purpose of this video, I'm going to attach the wire close to the camera so that you can see, but when you do it at home, the idea is that you would attach the wire at the base and start from here. So to attach, we're going to thread the wire through the frame, turn, twist to secure. It's now time to add the foliage to your mossed ring. We've given you a selection of foliage which includes tree ivy, conifer, spruce, and some premium foliage which is the eucalyptus. You can also add other foliage that you've picked from your garden or out on a country walk. Once you've collected all of the foliage that you'd like to use, cut it all to a similar size, and then we're going to start by gathering it in bunches and placing it on the wreath. So take 3 or 4 pieces of the foliage to create a bunch. The conifer and the spruce is really nice at the base, it creates a nice shape. Add your tree ivy, and then the eucalyptus, this is a premium foliage, so we normally place this on the top so that you can see it. If it's underneath, it gets lost, and we only really add 1 stem per bunch. So you're going to have a bunch like this. We place it over your ring so that you're covering all of the moss, not like this so it's sticking out. It needs to be horizontal, and then with your wire you're going to wrap once, give it a bit of a pull to secure, and go over again and pull. It's important that you leave the wire attached. We don't cut it until the very, very end. So once that's secure, you're going to place the next bunch. Gather your foliage for your second bunch. Remember to keep them roughly the same size and use all of the different varieties to add a really lovely texture to your wreath. You need to trim the stems, do so just like that, put that in the bin, and then we're placing on top of the first bunch. Always ensure that you're going in the same direction so that the stems are always to the right. And we're going to go over and again. We always overlap slightly, just makes it look fuller and well balanced. We're going to continue now with the rest of the bunches. Okay, so we've now worked our way around the whole of the wreath and we're coming to the end where we need to sort of tie it off. With the last couple of bunches, and last bunch in particular, we need to make sure that we put the stems underneath the very first bunch and wrap it round, ensuring that you don't wrap the wire on top of that first bunch. It'll all make sense as I show you. Okay, so this is probably the second to last bunch that we're placing on. Again, just make sure that that first bunch is lifted so that we don't wrap any of that lovely foliage underneath the wire. And we go around to secure. So yeah, we've got room for 1 more bunch that will just slip under there. Final bunch, we lift up the first bunch, place it down. It's quite fiddly, this bit. Get the hang of it. And we go around, pull, again, lift up the first bunch, wrap it around and pull to secure. Once your wreath's covered, like that, we're going to attach the wire. We do this by pulling a length cutting. Then we thread the end through the moss under the frame, pull, and then we're going to feed it through to make a knot and pull. Let me show you again. So we take the end of the wire under the frame, through the moss, pull it out, and then you create a loop here, push it through, pull to knot. And we'll just cut the end, and there we have it. It's now time to decorate your wreath. You'll find in your kits that we've provided you with a bow in your chosen colour scheme, along with a selection of seasonal goodies to put on your wreath, the cinnamon sticks, pine cones and fruit slices. So the first thing we're going to do is attach the bow. So have a good look at your wreath, see where you think the best place to position it. You can either have it at the top or at the bottom with the ribbon trailing. I'm going to decide to, I think I'm going to put this at the bottom. So we hold the wire at the end, feed it through, it goes all the way through the moss, pokes out the other side, so push it all the way down. I'll just show you from the back. So the wire's sticking out this at the back. And we're basically just going to turn the wires back on themselves and push them into the moss. That secures the sharp edges so that you don't scratch your front door. And hold the bow in position. Give it a little zhuzh. And there we have it. That's your bow. I'm now going to add the rest of the decorations to the wreath. The cinnamon sticks, you'll note, have already been wired, so that's just a case of pushing the wires through, which we'll do in a minute. The fruit slices, I tend to group two together, so hold them together, then with one of the wires that we've provided, just going to show you this, simply just push the wire through both pieces of fruit, turn the wire down and twist. So it almost looks like it's on a lolly stick. The pine cones we wire in a similar way, but we hold the wire across the bottom of the cone, pull them round so that they meet at the back and twist. As long as you've got enough wire here to go through, then that's long enough. Okay, so have a look at your wreath, decide where you want to put everything. I tend to just place the decorations on the top first, have a look, check that I'm happy with it before I push the wires through and secure them. So we tend to work in threes, the rule of three. So have a little play and see. So, take the pine cone, feed the wires through until you feel the wires come out the other end. And again, once you feel the wires, turn them back on themselves and push into the moss. And then that's nice and secure. the wreath upside down to show you what it looks like. So push it in. You can see the wires come through. Turn it and push back into the wreath. And there we have it. Christmas wreath. The final step is adding a hook so that you can put the wreath on your door. You'll find in your kits that there was one thicker wire. This is the wire that you'll need to use for this stage. So we're basically going to fold the wire in half. So put your thumb in the middle and bend. So you're given that sort of shape. Then we're going to take your wreath and we're going to do it this way. We're going to push the ends through, so it's going to come in front of the wire frame and push sort of at an angle. So we push it back this side of your ring, so to the right, as I'm looking at it here, so to the right. So it goes underneath the wire and it comes out the bottom, and then make sure that you hook it underneath and around the bottom wire so that it holds it in place. So you push it back in on itself. So then when you tug on it, it's secure. So it's wrapped around the wire at the bottom.